Paddock at Delaware Park, ready for the 8th race, the feature race, the Nick Shuk Memorial. And Nick Shuk was a jockey who rode at Delaware Park regularly. His name was synonymous with Delaware Park. He was a 3-time leading jockey. And I have with me the Nick Shuk expert. This is Dr. John Toothman. He actually wrote a book about Nick. We'll tell you about that in a while. But were you a personal friend of Nick Shuk?
I was a personal friend of Nick Shuk. I was a fan of his, and I got to know Nick later in life, later in his career. And it was just a pleasure to be involved with him. And he was one of the greatest riders of all time, especially in the 50s and 60s.
It wasn't just Delaware Park. He was pretty nationally known. I know he rode Damascus to a victory once.
Oh, he did. He rode all the great horses in the 50s and 60s, rode for all the big-time stables. He's just one of those jockeys that, needed to win a Triple Crown race. And he always liked to chide. The story was that Saratoga got beat by Nashua when it was a short horse, and he lost by half a length in the Preakness. But he always wanted to win that Preakness.
I know he was well known here at Delaware. In fact, I used to walk out here, right over here. There'd be a big family with big picnics going on, and Nick Shuk was always among them.
Oh, he loved Delaware Park. He loved these grounds. He had the train system here. So instead of a little different than what Ramon Dominguez did, he just stayed here, and he'd catch that train, run up to New York, win a couple stake races. He always loved to beat Eddie Arcaro. Then get back to Delaware Park because he loved to golf, he loved to hunt, he loved to fish, and he thought New York was, more of what he called a concrete jungle. So he was happy here. He loved Delaware Park.
One more thing about Nick Shuk, he was famous for his white gloves. Why did he wear white gloves?
He wore those white gloves because he was allergic to horses. So he kept getting this rash on his hands. So he went to his doctor, and his doctor said, well, the best thing for you to do is just get some surgical gloves. So he'd buy packets of them. If you ever noticed, when he'd finish his race, he'd rip those gloves off, throw them away, get a fresh pair out, and put them back on.
All right, quick, Doc, tell us about the book you wrote. What's it called, and how can people get it?
It's called The Reinsman. It's a Nick Shuk story. You can get it at Barnes & Noble. You can get it through Amazon.com. It's in all major bookstores, et cetera, and so forth. It's a nice little book. It's a little hero story, and it covers his whole life all the way to the end until he died of cancer.
It's good that Delaware Park has a Nick Shuk race, isn't it?
Oh, it's fabulous. It's fabulous for jockeys. There's so very few jockey races. The only one I can actually think of is the Anthony Desperito, and I'm not really sure they have that one anymore. I think there's a Willie Shoemaker maybe in California. But other than that, it's a shame. There should be more races like this. And it's a great honor for Nick, and especially Delaware Park because he loved it here so much.
Okay, we've got it. Thanks, Dr. John Toothman. And not only do we have the Nick Shuk Memorial, but it's on the turf, and it's for 2-year-olds, and I'm excited about that. We're going to get a spin of around the paddock here. We'll tell you about each of the horses real quickly. Thanks, Doc Toothman.